Hello and welcome to the RWBY Podcast. We are back with probably the last off-season podcast. We got some house cleaning to do, as well as some trailer and some other tidbits of RWBY stuff to get through today. I am apparently the most hated man in the fandom right now. I'm Mediocrity 4.
Hey, someone has to do it, and it might as well be you. And unfortunately, you stepped on that landmine. But it was an autistic landmine that you stepped on, though. Yeah. You didn't have the right can opener to open up the forbidden tuna.
Mm.
And you are?
Oh, I'm high powered, the resident alcoholic, and parts inspector.
I actually had almost no idea what was going on because I am way too busy at school. I am dude, what the heck.
And I am the one thing you can never kill. I am Robert. Looking forward to discussing some things here.
And though the cowardly attack of the Jedi has left me scarred and deformed, I am still Coop. And I am still ready to talk about shit.
Coop's got a broken jaw, right? Broken, or
they took a melon baller to his wisdom teeth.
Yeah, and then various complications ensued afterwards.
I'm sorry, man.
That sucks because that doesn't happen too often. Usually, it goes fairly smoothly.
Nah, I'm just a fucking old ass man, and so it started.
He says, it's what, 27, 26-year-old guys?
We're all basically the same age.
Yeah, we're all really close in age.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're all in our mid-late 20s.
Basically.
Yeah. Oh, God. My birthday was like 2 months ago now, and it's just... I've been feeling really old. I've been feeling like a boomer. But, So
we're not even 30. We're fine.
So first things first. This is something that we've got questions about in the past. We've kind of hand waved it on the last 2 or 3 podcasts we've done, just because we didn't have all the information. We still don't have all the information, but we do have a major milestone in this situation, which is Vic Mignogna. The first part of the deposit, his deposition suit against Funimation ended, so to say. He might repeal it later. He probably will repeal it with a different legal team because apparently there was legal incompetence that really dropped the ball. But basically the court found that Funimation is not culpable for damages.
Yeah. And yeah, basically it's just he's not going to get the severance check or whatever money he thought he owed or thinks he's owed. He ain't going to get for now, assuming the if he gets it appealed, the appeal goes through.
I still say, and I'm saying what I've always been saying. I have no idea if he's guilty or not. I don't follow this kind of shit anymore. And you know what? I asked media, because I watched the trailer, and I asked media, I was like, hey, wait a minute. Speaking of this, was Crow in the trailer voiced by Vic or the new guy? And he's like, the new guy. I was like, I didn't fucking tell a difference. So I don't care. So I just don't give a shit. The end.
Yeah.
That's me done.
Yeah.
My philosophy has always been, especially in animation, there is no actor more important than the character he's playing.
That's fair.
And also, even if he is absolutely, completely guilty, he could easily make a career comeback. Crazier things have happened. Chris Brown is still making hit songs.
True.
Yeah.
My philosophy has always been that even if he is guilty, the people accusing him of all this stuff have gone about this in the perfectly wrong way. So, screw them. I don't care if
we'll get to something. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get it right out of the way now. Rooster Teeth is rewriting history. They recently released a lore book. I've only seen bits and pieces of it. Raymond is actually reading it on stream as we speak. As we are recording. And so I've been privy to the first couple parts or whatever, as well as some leaks and stuff that have come through. They did not credit Vic as the voice of Crow. They didn't even credit Jason Liebrecht either. Like it's actually really, really dumb the way they went about it. Because like they credited Gray as Torchwick, even though he, got ousted from the company. They credited Kathleen Zelch as Glenda, even though she like called Ashley Jenkins every foul word under the sun. They credited JJ Castillo as Mercury, even though he only voiced him for one volume. He's been voiced by Yuri Lowenthal ever since. They credited on all those people, but they didn't credit Crow. They didn't credit Vic Mignogna for the work that he did.
Yeah, it's oddly specific that they did that. It might be just because their lawyer was like, hey, just leave the name blank, so there's like, if they catch any flack, they're less likely to do so. If I was gonna like give the rational like PR business answer for it, it still sucks though, and I don't like it.
I'm not a fan.
It feels like that. Yeah, it just feels like they kind of, I don't know, probably followed Funimation's lead and jumped the gun and decided to, fire him to try and cover their own asses and stuff like that, and to, maybe there was something thought of like, we really can't, we got to protect our employees and stuff like that. And if this does turn out to be true, with honestly, from the sounds of things, from what I hear some people who I consider to be at least somewhat objective say about Vic, it kind of seems like it's probably just a combination of him being a little overly affectionate and, just being overly friendly and like failing to, he's in his 50s and stuff like that. So I think a part of it is just like him failing to
we live in a post-Me Too era.
When he accidentally, without meaning to, made people uncomfortable and stuff like that. And it just got out of hand, and then maybe someone took advantage. But yeah, I think it's just some weird mix of overreactions and, people not really considering how they're affecting others, and then the companies just jumped the gun and stuff like that and overreacted. So
it used to be okay to be like a physical individual, like to go up and hug people and stuff like that. Like people didn't used to think of it like as being a bad thing, but nowadays it's
even the Christian side hug isn't safe anymore.
Yeah, it's like. Which I mean, like, I feel that because, like, I'm kind of like that. I like hugging people and stuff like that, especially if we're good friends,
But maybe some coworkers or some, fans at conventions. Although a lot of fans at conventions are like, no, I like how lovable he is and how friendly he is. But other people were, apparently took some issues with it. But
my initial red flag with the whole Vic situation, I've addressed this in the past, is that if this sort of behavior was going to be an issue with Rooster Teeth and with Funimation,
why'd they hire him in the first place?
Why did Rooster Teeth hire him in the first place, and why didn't Funimation fire him back in 2010 when these like allegations and stuff first started popping up? It really freaks that they did it out of convenience rather than
companies like money. And again, this is not saying I am staying completely silent on whether or not I think Vic is, because I honestly don't know enough. Okay, like I really know nothing about it.
None of us do. Nobody does,
unless you were a fly on the wall at wherever he did whatever he might have done.
In which case you died months ago.
Yeah, exactly. Only the people that know Vic personally, and the people making the allegations, and probably the people at Funimation, can have the full picture of what's going on. And that's for they have to live with themselves. They have to live with their choices and stuff like that, whether they were good or bad. So
yeah,
we as audience members don't know, but yeah.
My point is that Rooster Teeth, they act like
we freeze up here. Shoot.
They act like they care about being all liberal and progressive and stuff like that, and maybe in some ways they do. But at the end of the day, they care about money more. So why do you think they've gotten more progressive and liberal recently? It's because they think that's going to get them money and followers and support right now. You know what I mean? And why did they not fire Vic before? Because he was a big fucking name voice actor. And I remember it was a huge goddamn deal when he got hired. So people were really excited about Vic, and nobody cared at that time. So they obviously, here's the thing: Rooster Teeth is not a moral company. They are not moral people at all, no matter how much they try to freaking virtue signal, whatever. And it's not about whether they're liberal or not. It's that they're clearly, any company, if they really thought Vic was like doing stuff like that, anybody should not have hired him at that time if that's really what they thought was going on, or if they truly care about that sort of issue, right? But Rooster Teeth obviously doesn't actually care about that issue. It's just because the light's on it now. So they might lose support and money if they kept him, but when they hired him, they would gain money and support if they hired him. That's it. They don't care about the morality of it at all. They only care about the money.
Yeah, that is a very good way of putting it.
Yeah. So
more or less, yeah.
I think we got
speaking of Rooster Teeth not being a moral company, I think that brings us to the next thing on the docket. This is something I already did a video on. It's called A Gray Day for Rooster Teeth. You can watch it on my channel. I'll put a link in the description or something. A lot of freaking people got fired from Rooster Teeth all at once.
The axe came down hard.
It was something like
50 people out of 419 the 419 employees that they had at the time, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Now, I don't have any new information that isn't already in my video, but I just want to get your guys' opinions on particularly because from my understanding, a lot of what got fired was the video game development because Vicious Circle bombed. But two of the people that got fired, they were apparently got let go before this or leading up to this. Gray Haddock and Cohen Wootent, who are the two main producers on everything in Rooster Teeth Animation. Gray's been the head of Rooster Teeth Animation for a long time. We talked about him stepping down as the head of animation last podcast. But now we found out more recently that he didn't just step down from head of animation. He stepped down from Rooster Teeth outright. He is no longer working with the company, and neither is Cohen Wooten, who has been a serious producer on RWBY and everything else since Volume 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
go first, Robert. I'm sorry.
All right. I don't know. My take on it is that, like, I don't know. From what I don't know who all exactly was fired. I don't know which departments or, who from what department was fired. Although I do know that one of them was Nick, who used to work for Screw Attack's Top 10, which Screw Attack was pretty much dissolved into Rooster Teeth and stuff like that earlier this year. Earlier this year? Was it earlier? I think it was.
I believe so. Yeah.
It happened. It happened the same day that Vic got fired. I remember that because I was like, wait, I don't think that's a coincidence.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, it was dissolved into Rooster Teeth like the same day, or around earlier this year and stuff like that. So knowing that, Cohen and Gray, who, there was recently this big hoopla over the way the animation department was being handled and stuff like that. Genlock didn't make nearly enough money to justify the amount of money that was put into it. So, which is probably why Cohen and Gray were, stepped down or probably asked to step down. So honestly, like, I look at this and I hear a lot of people saying, kind of freaking out saying, oh, Rooster Teeth is dying, it's falling apart. I honestly think it's just house cleaning. I think it's brutal and it's really sad. All right. People losing their jobs is never, is always a sad thing. That's people's livelihood. But I really do think that it's, like, at this point, it looks like it's probably just pruning. It's RT, listening to those consultants that they brought in after everything with the animation department. They brought some people in, and I think those people probably told them, you got to get rid of some of these people that you just don't need. So like, this host of a show that they're not running anymore, and the producers that weren't doing their jobs properly and stuff like that. So like, I honestly think, like, again, it's brutal and it's sad, but honestly, I think it's probably going to end up being what's best for, RT as a whole and stuff like that down the line. I think that they just overgrew. They went, they grew too fast. Their employee numbers almost like, I want to say, I don't know. Well, yeah, have been growing a lot in these last few years, and I think these are just growing pains. So I really don't think like they're falling apart the way people think they are. But I don't know. I'm not an MBA or anything like that, so I don't know. Feel free, if anyone out there who knows business better than me, feel free to tell me I'm wrong. But
there's a little bit more context too, because Warner Media itself was basically cleaning house with all the IPs and companies they've just they've gotten over the period of time. So because people from like Verve, Crunchyroll, like everyone was like, people were getting axed all across the board around the time of this firing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just RT.
Yeah, like anything that anything that Warner Media owned that was like in the same like shell group of RT suffered losses to basically their staff. They got a bunch of people axed.
I mean, like, you can point towards multiple factors as far as like the individual firings go that would have contributed to each one. Obviously, like in the case of Gray, you have the aftermath of Genlock. You have the Warner Brothers coming in, like Hypard said. You have that whole animator scandal thing that RT was going through, and it just sort of, I would say that like all of this basically culminated in the firing, more or less. And so like it's hard to like pin down one single thing. I think it was really just like a perfect storm that caused this sort of mass firing situation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the overall large scale firing of people at Rooster Teeth might not even be directly tied to Gray, if that makes sense. Where like those people had to be fired anyway because of Warner Media in general, right?
Yeah, and like I said, with the video game development studio, Vicious Circle had just dropped. Vicious Circle, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is a multiplayer shooter that Rooster Teeth developed. They developed it in-house pretty much on their own, cost them a lot of money, and nobody bought it. Nobody bought it. First of all, it sucked. Like every review and stuff I've seen of it, just thrash it. It's not a very well liked game.
Here.
And on the other hand, it just, not enough people bought it even on day one to sustain it, and it ended up being a commercial and critical failure for the company. And then when this mass firing happened, like just within like a month or two, I don't know the exact dates, but if my sources are right about a lot of the people being fired are the video game studio, Gray had nothing to do with that.
No. So,
but at the same time, like that still feels like they're letting go of people that didn't, that were working on projects that just weren't making money back and stuff like that, that weren't doing their jobs properly. So, I use Gray and Cohen as an example, but like I think I feel like that might have been the general rule all around. But again, I could be wrong.
And I said this in my Honest Look at RWBY's RWBY, which was the first in my Honest Look at RWBY series. That when a project fails,
the first one on the chopping block.
The first one on the chopping block is the producer.
Yeah, they're the most easy to replace in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. I mean, like the other thing is so I'm saying that these things could be completely unrelated because of Warner Media was just laying off a bunch of people, but at the same time, Rooster Teeth's had a fucking shit year this year. They sucked. They most of what they've been doing has not been working out recently. And I know a lot of people are not happy with them. My brother's a Rooster Teeth fan in general. He's the one who got me into Rooster Teeth in the first place, I believe. And he's not renewing. I mean, the first subscription debacle, which I know they lost a lot of subscriptions off of that.
Oh, yeah.
They lost a ton off that, so that could be slightly related.
Was that the price changes?
Yeah.
They basically like doubled or I think even tripled in some cases the price of RT First.
Yeah.
The price changes were weirdly like set up and stuff like that because the whole point of the 6-month and year-long trial is that you pay less in the long run. But I seem to recall that definitely with the 6-month one, you basically end up paying the exact same as with the monthly subscription. So it's like that doesn't make any sense. That does not justify this. What do you guys think?
I already canceled my like renewing subscription. I might pay monthly just while RWBY's out, and then fuck it. I don't care.
I think that's
I'm only gonna and honestly, the only reason I'm gonna watch it on time is to do the podcast. Exactly.
Hey, we appreciate the fact that you love us so much.
So like,
It's the only reason I care.
A lot of their dude, you said a lot of their projects haven't worked out and stuff like that.
Well, Genlock, the video game,
RWBY's still having trouble. Genlock did not succeed. I'm assuming RWBY is still sucky as ever.
Yeah.
Are there any other? I'm thinking about
was Nomad of Nowhere was last year, wasn't it?
Nomad of Nowhere was last year.
It was last year.
Yeah. I know.
What interesting or exciting or like big things have they done recently?
So what about Achievement Hunter? Because I know that's been another one of their big.
The slow-mo guys got to shoot some really big. The slow-mo guys got to shoot some really big guns recently.
And Achievement Hunter is not as big as they used to be.
Okay, because that's
I'm not saying they're tiny. They're steady. They're steady, but that's not the issue. I'm saying they have had nothing hugely successful this year, right? Yeah,
they haven't had a RWBY Volume 1 again.
No, and they've had a bunch of flops. Genlock was a huge fucking flop. That show was so bad, I didn't even care to keep podcasting with you guys. It was so bad, I didn't even care. I still don't know how that season ended. The last episode I remember was when everybody died in that tower thingy, or they think everybody died in the tower, and they all ran away, and the professor died. One of the only two interesting characters died.
That was episode 2 and 3.
The last episode I saw
wasn't. It was
that was the second to last.
The guy who tried to sneak in. The infiltrator guy. That was the last episode. I think it was the second episode.
Yeah, that was the second episode.
So I was I'm done. I don't care about this show. There's only two interesting characters. One is David Tennant, who they killed. Fucking idiotic to kill the David Tennant character, and the other British character, the hacker girl. Yeah, Cammy. So it was nothing to watch. That show was bad. It did not do well either. It's not just I think it's bad. It did not do well. So that's an issue, and the video game was a huge flop. Those two things cost a lot of money.
Right. So the video game department and the animation department, I know those guys.
And Gray's just trash in general. Gray is terrible. Yeah. He's not a good human being from what I've seen. He's a complete asshole. He's very egotistical. He's incompetent in his job. He's no business producing anything whatsoever.
Now,
I'm worried though is
as far as Gray goes, the rumor is that he was
okay. Hold on. Gray is the Ryan Grigson of the animation world.
I don't get this.
If you don't know who Ryan Grigson is, Ryan Grigson was the former Colts GM of the Indianapolis Colts. After the Colts drafted Andrew Luck, Ryan Grigson spent 5 or 6 years with Andrew Luck, never drafting offensive linemen to protect Andrew Luck, and hence the Colts no longer have Andrew Luck. He is literally the worst GM probably in NFL history.
Didn't he go to Denver or something?
And that's essentially what Gray.
Wait,
I don't know if he's that bad. Yeah, he still has a job somehow. And Gray will somehow get a job because people are stupid.
Wait, didn't Andrew Luck go to Denver?
That was Peyton Manning.
Okay.
But yeah, but so that's my. I guess part of my question in regards to people still saying RT's falling apart and stuff like that. I understand that the animation has been struggling with stuff like that. I know Vicious Circle didn't do well, but I don't know. They have other projects and stuff like that, like Achievement Hunter, the RT podcast.
Well,
I mean,
here's the
they'll
thing
survive.
about-
They'll survive.
They'll
They
survive.
survive.
It could. I'm not saying it will. It could be a mark of the beginning of the end. We don't know, though. We have no idea. They're not going to fall apart because of this. It could be a mark of them on a downward trend. You never know, though.
It honestly
they could completely rebound. They could completely rebound and do great if they make
Like
the right structural changes.
Even
They can go in any direction right now. They're not done.
Yeah.
But they are. They
absolute
did have
worst.
problems. They definitely had problems.
They need to learn from these problems.
Yes,
The-
exactly.
Absolute worst case scenario. They get mothballed in the Cartoon Network studios and still just do stuff for Cartoon Network. And
Yeah, and then Jeff leaves and does Achievement Hunter by himself, like because I think Jeff owns Achievement Hunter or something like that.
Just starts up a YouTube channel. There you go.
Which is
Done.
honestly
Achievement Hunter already has their own YouTube channel.
Yeah,
the
no,
Let's
there you
Play
go.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we're not sponsored by Miller Lite, unfortunately.
Aw.
You can't drink. Why are you complaining?
Dude, didn't like Twitch get sponsored by Miller Lite or something like that recently? There's like a Twitch.
I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It was more of an because we're not sponsored at all.
Yeah.
So getting on track, and one last question regarding the producers that'll bridge us into the next thing on the docket, and the most important thing is what's going to be on the title. How will these producers getting fired affect RWBY Volume 7?
Well,
I feel like
I'm gonna go get another beer real quick.
I don't think so much. I think it's too late. I think we'll have to wait until Volume 8.
Yeah, I think
see the
Volume
changes.
8 is when the changes will start showing up.
yeah, I also don't even really know how much input they had on Volume 7. So, like, you know, that's some behind the scenes shit that like we're probably never gonna find out.
Yeah.
But you know, did they impact it? What impact did they have on it? Like, honestly, we're not going to know anything about Volume 7 until after Volume 7's come out. So it's not a pointless question, but it's kind of hard to answer at this point, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
I feel like the biggest impact it might have had is that maybe all of the Glassdoor reviews will hopefully make them a little more self-aware in their portrayal of Atlas as a business and stuff like that, and maybe they'll realize, like,
whoa there, Unicorn of War.
About it.
That sounds like some union shit right there.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking unionizing or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, they'll think about, okay, how can we make sure not to, like, what lines are, like, how do we not portray this in such a way that people are saying, oh, well, if only these people had Glassdoor, I guess Remnant doesn't have Glassdoor, do they? Like, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing about greed.
Unions do not get anything done. They're terrible. Anyway.
If Rooster Teeth really were these shining examples of liberal and progressive politics, wouldn't they have unionized workers?
Yeah, there's unions in Texas. I would know, because I applied to work at the elevator union.
Here's the
they
thing:
exist. They're just private unions.
The elevator union is actually like
as well and stuff
super
like
sweet gig, by the way. But like, it's hard to get into. But
it's the mafia.
Yeah. But yeah,
well,
there are unions, but they like Texas is a right to work state, so you don't have to be in a union. Is the thing. There are certain states where you have to be a part of a union, or else you can't work.
Yeah.
Like
when I was studying, and like when I was studying film and stuff like that in college, they were telling me, like, you probably would want to join like the filmmakers union and stuff like that, because they'll make sure that you get paid appropriately and stuff like that, which I'm not entirely sure about if that was how true that was and stuff like that, because I know that a lot of unions are used for some stuff, for some not so good stuff and stuff like that, and a lot of times it's just to put money in the union leaders' pockets and stuff.
Well,
but anyway,
okay, you're going to get paid appropriately, but then again, you're also going to be paying union dues, so you're basically just giving the difference over to them.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of why I was iffy on the subject and why I still don't live in California.
You couldn't afford to live in California is the real answer.
That too. Yeah.
Everything in California is expensive as shit.
Which I would love to live in California just for the airsoft, but I can't own all these cool guns. But that's besides the point. As I had recently entered into a new, even more autistic hobby than RWBY, which is air shit.
Legitimately, a fucking pack of smokes in California is like $9 fucking. I come over here to North Carolina, I see the same like Marlboro Reds. They're like $4. It's crazy.
Hell yeah, cowboy killers.
Yeah. But yeah, in answer to your question, Media, I don't think the producer change is going to have much of an effect on Volume 7 at all. Except maybe they'll be a little self-aware when portraying, the business side of Atlas and stuff.
See, the producer's job is to make sure everyone has what they need in order to properly do their job and stuff. So I think we'll see some really inconsistent animation and voice quality and stuff in this volume. I think that'll be the end of it, because we've gotten that in all the other volumes.
But that's every volume.
Because the producers they had were just so incompetent, and now Volume 7 has had no producers for a very large chunk of their production time, because Ray left back in July. Ray stepped down as producer of RWBY back in July. So they did a lot of work on Volume 7 without a series producer.
To be fair, apparently they've gotten started on, they've started
on pre-production of 8,
and stuff like that. So they've got plans. So I don't know. Hopefully it didn't slow them down too much, but
I think the pre-production stuff on Volume 8 that they're doing now is more a sign of the writers that they added, because before. That
it was just M and K.
Volumes 3, 4, 5, and 6. It was just Miles and Carrie, and so Miles can't write the entire volume by himself. He can't even shoot ideas off of people by himself. So he basically always had to wait for Carrie to get done with his job as director in order to start on the script. But now
he's got 4
Carrie
people.
Can focus.
Well,
yeah,
3.
now Carrie can focus on directing Volume 7 and make sure those episodes get done on time, and making sure that they're, match the Rooster Teeth level of quality that Rooster Teeth wants.
Someone needs to send these guys a copy of the 90-day screenplay.
Miles, Eddie, and Kiersey can start doing the script for Volume 8.
Okay, so this is my for me, I feel like the best way to determine a good idea to see how the production change is going to affect this volume is going to be how many hiatuses we're going to run into, because next month we've got Thanksgiving.
In the volume itself, or
no, of this volume is how many hiatuses we're going to hit. So we've got Thanksgiving coming up. And then we also got Christmas and New Year's, and then the beginning of next year. So I'm expected we're gonna miss out on a week no matter what. It's guaranteed that we're gonna miss out on a week.
They take the week between Christmas and New Year's off. I don't think they've taken Thanksgiving off, at least not for they've always had RWBY episodes on that already done, because it's so early on in the volume, especially this time, since volume starts on November 2nd. So it's going to be episode 34. They already have that first batch of episodes basically done, because we already have a trailer. So they already have that stuff basically done. All they have to do is last touches and edits and composites and renders and stuff, and they'll have all that ready to go on there. So they can even take Thanksgiving off and already have an episode ready to go on that weekend.
And especially with the new writer. So I don't agree with person's politics or whatever, but with the new writer,
you don't agree with Miles. You don't agree with Miles and Carrie's politics anyway, right?
Okay, true. Okay, let me rephrase this real quick. So they have a real writer on the staff. This person,
which is what I said I wanted the whole time. How long have I been calling for that?
Yeah, you've called it for a while.
So this is
They have an actual serious writer. So this person knows how to actually structure and put stuff down on paper. That alone probably optimizes the workflow by a dramatic amount, because she could be like, oh hey, why are we fretting over this? We could start working on other stuff. If you've written a bad book or an okay novel, it still takes effort and organization to put together a whole novel.
Finishing a book
something
is way harder than people actually realize, especially in nonfiction, especially a fiction book.
That's gonna mean a lot for RWBY.
Does.
So in my personal opinion, I'm expecting some incoherency or in the mid-section of the volumes, which have always been weak. I'm expecting we're going to have a reasonably coherent ending to this volume. Is my expectations. For this volume, at least.
Yeah. Well, since we're moving into the Volume 7 trailer, right? Basically, that's what we're on now, correct?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. So, I remember saying before, when we talked about the news of who they hired for the writing position and stuff like that. And you know what? I have to say, again, I was actually staying cautiously optimistic for everything. And I'm actually going to right now still, to be honest. Because you know what? It is It's still what I said I wanted. I wanted a professional writer. And they hired 2, didn't they? They hired 2 more writers.
Yeah, they hired 2 new writers.
They hired 2.
Not sure how professional the other one is, but
yes, but they hired 2.
Eddie Rivas was one of the script doctors for Volume 6.
Okay.
That's a pretty good sign, because Volume 6 was the best yet, objectively.
That's the equivalency of the guy who's
as objective as you can get for art. But it was pretty much the best volume. Not my favorite volume, but it was the best. And they hired one who's professional. You know what I mean? So who has actually finished stuff and put stuff out, and that does mean something. You're not going to get. You're not going to somehow get the guy who wrote Series of Unfortunate Events out of retirement or obscurity to help you write RWBY. Okay, that's not going to happen. You're not going to get somebody at that level. But at least they got somebody. And so, and again, the politics thing, Miles and Kay are already people that I don't agree with on a lot of things. I might agree with them on some things, but I definitely don't agree with them on. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
So at least they have professional writers. So I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. It's what I've been begging for the whole time. So I'm expecting to see greater coherence.
Okay.
And I think any really, really dumb thing that they could do would probably happen anyway, because they already do really dumb stuff sometimes in RWBY. But I'm not expecting. Yeah. We'll get later to the really dumb thing that people are talking about recently. But the trailer I actually liked. It doesn't say.
Yeah.
What I really like is that it doesn't say a lot, but at least it tells us where they're going to talk to Ironwood. They're in on whatever Ironwood's plan is, at least for the beginning. And they actually had something. It's related to the volume, really. I remember that they've done trailers before, especially the Volume 4 one, which really wasn't related at all to the show at all. And I like that they kind of hinted at somebody attacking them and stealing the relic. Yeah. And I like that we didn't really see Oscar at all, I think.
Yeah, Oscar was in one shot.
Yeah.
So I like that. And I like that the Grimm are a thing. I don't have to forget that the Grimm are in the show. So that's really nice. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think
those giant centipede things you see them fighting remind me of Legend of Zelda bosses.
I was reminded of that too.
From A Link to the Past.
Don't talk about that part from King Kong. That is the worst part in that movie. Is whenever the bugs eat everyone. It's the worst.
The King Kong video game. One of the most persistent enemies in the video game of that movie was the Megapedes. They come out of they just shoot out of these crevices and stuff and wrap you up.
Yeah, I do. So I don't know. I guess one thing I saw some people talking about, I think media was talking about, was RWBY's line of trying to do what's right, but I'm not sure if it's what's best, or I'm trying to do what's best, but I'm not sure if it's what's right. And I know people are giving them flack for that one, and it is a goofy, awkward line.
It's an anime protagonist line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
It
is
works
cool.
though.
I
It
think-
works.
I think it works. I actually
I
like
think
it.
it works for
Fine.
Ruby as a character, as an awkward,
Yeah, it does.
teenage girl, and it will probably, and I think it's going to make sense in context of when it
Yes.
is actually spoken
Yes.
in the series. It's just not a great line for a trailer. It's just not something you put in a
But-
trailer.
To
But-
be more positive
but
again, and again, we're being positive by RWBY standards. I don't want it's not the greatest show ever, but we're being positive by RWBY standards. What was the line that she said in? Oh, don't let anyone what's the plan?
Don't let
Ruby?
anyone else
Don't
die.
let anyone else die.
That was in the Volume 6 trailer.
If we're comparing trailers, this is way better than that. This is miles better than that.
I think
It has me less
the
concerned.
main
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Wasn't
I think
this
the
like
main
in
reason
our?
why this I think the main reason why this is a better trailer than the Volume 5 or 6 trailer is because there's a
And
lot
4, because
more
4 wasn't even
there's
related,
a-
so 4 was automatically
well,
crap.
I'm talking about like the actual trailer, not the character shorts. Because the RWBY Volume 4, you might not remember, it actually did have a trailer about a week before it came out. That had clips from the first 3 episodes, as RWBY trailers off to do. But no one remembers that because it
I forgot about that one.
It didn't show anything worthwhile.
Well, that's what I'm
and same thing
saying.
with
This
the
one's
Volume
still
5,
this
5
would
and
make
6
this
trailer.
this would make this trailer by default the best trailer yet. Actually.
Yeah. I'd say the Volume 3 trailer was better. Volume 3 had a similar style trailer, and it showed like a little glimpse of like Crow versus Winter, and it had the line of I guess we need to find our guardian.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
I don't know. My main irritation with this trailer is that we still don't have a Jean action shot, which does not bode well for
Oh
him.
man.
But well.
You just
Speaking
sorry,
of
Rob.
John, man, I love John so much. I love Turbo Chad John more than anything else in the universe
horrible.
right now. No, it's great. You know what the best part is? You know what the best part is?
Or not Virgil, like Nero from Devil May Cry 4. It's horrible.
John has...
I'm going to have to rant about this because Sock's not here to do it.
John has the same hairstyle as Cardin did in volumes 1 through 3.
He's become the very thing he swore to destroy.
Yeah. For those who don't know what we're talking about, they redesigned Jean more than everybody got like a redesign, obviously, and like Blake got a haircut, but nobody cares about that when we can talk about Jean's haircut because they literally turned him into a Chad.
Yeah, John is
horrible.
Like a batch of bananas on his head.
He looks like a douchey. He looks like a douchey surfer from Newport Beach named Skylar. Okay,
and he's coming to fuck your girl, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You just have to watch.
Who knows? Maybe he's gonna fuck Penny's girl or something.
But
like
he looks like the type of Skylar that you'd make fun of them for their name, and then you'd actually get beat up. Though he looks like that Skylar.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if he does end up beating
and then he
someone
fucks
up
your
or making
girl
fun
after
of his
beating you
doo-doo,
up.
fine. I actually, but no, it just, it's jarring. It's weird. It's like, holy shit, what the fuck? Like, it's the most jarring thing I've ever seen, and it's like,
Man.
and I think. I don't know. I actually think, like, this is something that I actually thought looking at it. I think that they did that stupid haircut to cover up the fact that they haven't changed anything in his outfit below the shoulders. Except for add a belt on his leg.
They changed thing in his outfit. Don't make me come over to Utah and correct you.
Goodness.
I mean,
these character redesigns are
like I understand that Jean's a hard character to redesign because
he's a knight, he's a paladin.
Style and stuff like that, but it's like our belts are new zippers for the show or something like that. But
yes,
I don't know.
they are.
Zippers are the new zippers. Just look at Blake.
Fuck.
Oh yeah. Well, no, the
the
actual real travesty is Nora. Nora's outfit is boring.
Nora's outfit is terrible. I was so disappointed because her previous outfit looks so
I kind of
good.
like the addition of hearts and that they keep with the heart thing.
I'm gonna make a blanket statement right now. Every single one of these redesigns is awful. every single one of them don't work for one reason or
Okay,
another.
well, we have to give
The only one that the only
Juniper
one,
or for like in general for
all of them, every single one. Even Ironwood. Like Ironwood looked better with the 5 o'clock shadow than he did with the like 2D printed on beard.
Okay,
Also,
that's
like,
what
Yeah, I can agree with you
If
there.
they were going to change John's haircut, why just add facial hair or something?
Okay, I'm gonna make a couple like corrections / clarifications here, though, media. First of all, there, as I mentioned before, there is one outfit that cannot possibly, under any circumstances, be a downgrade, and that is Ren's, because he's in the snow now, and there's no way in hell he's going to have the stupid fucking sandals that he had before.
And he has boots or shoes at least.
He's gonna have boots or shoes at least. So there is at least one factually better outfit. Okay, not
Now,
every single one is worse.
I also think
Okay.
that Blake's outfit is an upgrade from her volume 4 and 5 and most of 6 outfits.
Okay, so there's
Blake's
another
but it's
outfit-
still, but it's still
Blake's
stupid.
outfit-
It's still like one of the worst outfits in the entire
yes, but
series.
she's always.
Media.
I've never really loved her outfits, to be honest.
Media.
And I still don't hate Weiss's yet.
Media. She just took one of Winter's old school uniforms. That's Blake's outfit. That's literally Blake's outfit.
Okay, yeah, Blake did that and then had Bucciarati beat the shit out of it with sticky fingers.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. The funny thing is that we, in general, said we kind of liked them when we saw them in 2D, right? I will admit, seeing them now in 3D, overall, they do look a little bit worse. However, I'm not going to make a full judgment on them right now. I mean, Yang's was trash already.
Yeah, Yang's
we knew
worse.
Yang's was absolutely trash because her last volume outfit was probably the best volume anybody had in the entire show, right? So it's that's obviously a downgrade. They should just made her outfit exactly the same because it was so good. And Ruby's is just a side grade. Honestly, I really can hardly tell the difference.
It's a Windows update. That's all that Ruby's ever is a Windows update. That's
not even that much of a difference. Blake's is actually an upgrade, and I still think Weiss's is an upgrade.
So
really
the Weiss has a weird problem. Weiss looks good. The problem is though is that she looks like she belongs in the anime series Fate Stay Night with that outfit.
She does.
That is the problem with her outfit, with her redesign.
She does.
No, she doesn't look like Saber.
Fate Zero, and I actually
she looks like Joan of Arc.
So...
She looks more like Joan of Arc than Saber.
She's got very puffy shoulders. Is the problem?
I actually think she looks more like Saber than she looks like anybody. She looks like Saber.
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean, Saber or Joan of Arc are depends on which Saber we're talking about.
Yeah. I'm talking about Fate. I watched Fate Zero. That's the one I watched.
Yeah.
So she
they're
looks like Saber.
all more or less the same shit. Like,
because my brother watches. My brother loves the Fate series, and he is a member of the Church of Rin Tosaka. So Rin Tosaka doesn't really matter in Fate Zero. She's not really like the god of thighs, apparently, according to
He does have
but Fate is a writhing tentacle monster that we don't want to get anywhere nearby unless we want eggs laid inside of us.
And keep in mind, I haven't actually watched any of the other Fates. I'm just going by what I've been told. So that's what I'm saying. The actual difference is. Yeah. And I've also been told that Ryder from the amazing guy who is Ryder in the Fate Zero is not in the other Fates, and that's automatically a downgrade because Ryder in Fate Zero is awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Never mind. Anyway, go ahead.
So I literally just rewatched the trailer, just to refresh on it. We have quite a bit to mention here. So we start off with scenes from the Volume 6 finale with Ironwood talking about how dangerous it is, and RWBY doing the whole like is it better to be factually correct or morally right? And then title card, and we appear to have 2 to 3 action scenes, very different action scenes sprinkled in throughout this trailer. Yeah. The first one, it looks like they're in the lower city and they're still in their Volume 4 outfits.
That's probably episode 1.
And that's the one where they're fighting the Sabers, which are one of the 2 new Grimm, or I should say 2.5 new Grimm in this trailer. That's another thing. There's
guys with the new look.
Grimm. There's more new Grimm in this trailer than we typically get in a volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very okay with this.
Well, we got 4 in volume 6, but yeah.
Yeah, in volume 6 we had the Chimera, the Manticore, the Apathy, and the Leviathan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But volume 4 we had the Geist and the Dragon. And the Barangol, if you want to include the character short, and then in
And then the
volume
guys
5
and the Knuckle
we just had the Lancers.
Yeah.
God, the Lancers probably have the highest body count right now in RWBY, in all honesty. Oh, man.
They messed up that
One
convoy.
ship.
So
Oh,
there's
no, it was they messed up apparently like a bunch of them.
so
That was just the final ship.
so essentially 2 plot points get dropped. I think in this like we got thread. I'm not even gonna say points. We got 2 threads that got dropped. So we got one where they're joining up with they're getting on. They're gonna basically become Ironwood's hit team. And then the other plot point, which kind of probably leads into Ironwood picking them up, is like, oh hey, they get picked up by the Atlesian Stasi like as soon as they hit the ground, and it's great. And I appreciate how Robert picks up that reference too, because most people haven't. Because I'm not going to say the KGB because that'd be easy. I want to make this hard for you guys, the viewers.
The Stasi were the East German police.
Yeah.
Secret police.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure they used bolos though. What was the Australian secret police called?
I think they were called the Mad Cunts, and they would go around drinking Fosters. And,
Yeah, I was gonna say, driving around in Holden Utes.
Yeah.
Or
Fosters
wherever
and
bolos-
VBs.
Yeah, so
yeah,
they
so we got that with the volume 4 outfit, and that apparently like that goes into the Crow line that we have, because about a minute 7 on that trailer we have the Crow line with Jason Liebrecht as Crow, and Jean and Ren are still in their volume 4 outfits, and then literally right after that we get the Bolos hitting Crow and everyone else, and someone picking up the relic. But then so we know all of that has to be before the other action scene, which looks like they drop in somewhere, and there's also like this action scene in
looks like
the
they're in a
system-
cave or something.
They're in a mine.
which has the Megapedes, as I'm gonna call them until we have an official name, and also another variation on the Geist, an Ice Geist, Frostiskegus. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but again, that's the stone one is called the Petroskegus, so I'm going to call this the Frostiskegus until we have.
I'm going to
an
call it
actual name.
Frosty the Ghost Man.
Hey,
Frosty the Ghost Man.
I'll take it.
And we also have some other like little scenes sprinkled in. I'm just kind of scrolling through. We have the scene with Ironwood. He appears to be talking to RWBY.
I guess.
Yeah,
they're talking about how
she says
they need to destroy Salem.
Yeah.
Which, what part of immortality do we not understand, people?
Hey, don't
That's
worry about it,
one
okay?
of the little
Like,
issues I have with this is Ironwood says that she'll keep coming back stronger and stronger unless we destroy her for good. That's
Last I checked, she's not Ozpin.
yeah, that's
Ozpin's thing. The whole
really
coming back.
weird line.
Yeah. Really,
Again, I'm
not
gonna withhold judgment on that until we see it
Salem's
in
immortality
context.
and all that.
Yeah,
I swear
I'm
to
gonna
God,
withhold all that until we see it in context, but still.
if this series ends with Salem and Ozpin just becoming a happy couple again,
Maybe in death. But
I mean-
again, what part of immortality?
don't worry,
I'm
guys. They're gonna get the special anti-evil juice, which is a separate type of juice that will undo the juice effects, and then
Everything will be okay.
Will allow them to, yeah.
Really hope not. I don't know. Maybe it's just going to be one of those things where Ironwood thinks, oh, we're just going to grab all the relics and use them to
destroy her in
that
detail.
allows us to destroy her, and they're going to be like, it, and then she's just going to be like, you really don't think Ozpin tried that? Like, don't you think somebody would have tried that by now, guys?
It's like, what do you think we fought the last Great War over?
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Oh god, if that becomes a plot point where that's what the Great War was about, gathering the 4 relics,
it probably was.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like that's so gray.
Like, seriously, I'm pretty sure that it ended when Osmond got a hold of. Like, the reason it took so long is because Osmond was looking for the relics the entire, and then finally ended the war with those relics.
Oh.
So one thing, the outfits I think kind of suck.
But there is one good thing about one of the outfits that we need to discuss. Okay,
what?
and that is that the color scheme
of
the new Nora one.
Please, no.
I
wasn't ready for
to
this.
us.
Nora is now a transbendo, according to the fans.
Yes, there was a dick under that skirt the whole time, and we never even knew.
So before Duke goes on his rant about this, I'm gonna just say I got a lot of hate. I got a lot of hate on Twitter for this, and I spoke a little out of line on some things, but I'm not going to get into the politics. I'm not going to get into the biology. I don't have the research right in front of me to quote from. I will say there is a difference between a headcanon and a crackpot theory, and this is a crackpot theory.
But
the thing that makes it bad is Aaron Wynn, who is the person we can blame for all these character designs, supporting, liking, and retweeting these theories. Most companies do not allow their employees to do that. Most companies don't even allow their writers or an artist to read fan fiction or look at fan theories. They're not allowed to. They're like Cartoon Network Studios, Warner Brothers, Marvel. They are contractually obligated to not look into the fandom side of things because it can influence their creative process in ways that can derail vision. Rooster Teeth, they read fan fictions all the time. They look at fan theories all the time. And that is why it started come out. Actually, it started come out years ago now. But it started to really get bad about Rooster Teeth seeming like they're bending to the fans instead of sticking to their own creative vision. Because even if they are sticking to their own creative vision, they no longer have that ability, that plausible deniability. Because they are out there admitting that they are looking at these these crackpot theories. They are showing that they read these and like these and are talking about them. And you have things like Blake, Aaron, and Barb at RTX several years ago talking about how they read Bumblebee fan fiction and stuff like that. That creates this really weird dynamic between the fandom and Rooster Teeth that is not good for the extremists within the fandom, and it's not good for the optics of the creators.
And any random autist can write a fan fiction on fanfiction.net TM, yes, and somehow, by accidentally or on purpose, influence the show. No, Robert, you're not allowed to influence the show.
We do have two of them. Yeah.
No, I think the only one here who hasn't actually put out any RWBY fan fiction is you, Coop. I know.
It's
Jude
in the works.
A long time ago. I know Jude did a long time ago. I stopped with RWBY fan fiction because I wrapped up RWBY on, and I've been working on quintuplet fan fiction instead. Robert does the 2020, and High Powered has his military OC isekai'd into RWBY.
It's great. There's a lot of shoot bangs and hot ladies.
I do have one that I have promised our constituents that will be happening at some point once I get the time. But that was a collaborative effort, and I just feel the need to put it out at some point just because of all the work that was put into it by all our friends and stuff. And so...
And I'm just rewriting things after the fact that they've been already written and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so...
I was doing Volume 4.
I'm gonna bring this up briefly. So the lore book is out, and we've gotten some insight about it. I don't think any of us have read it or have it yet.
I need to buy it.
So
just
so I
can
secondhand knowledge.
What does the lore book include people's gender? What does it say about Nora?
Oh no!
Oh god,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
No! But it'd be too late.
It'd
be too late to change that.
Yeah. So for me, like
I'm mostly joking.
a lot of what's in there is stuff that I had theorized and stuff through my RWBY on fan fiction. Like apparently we got insight on Cinder's backstory. And it's very much similar to the backstory I gave her in RWBY. Now I'm not saying that Rooster Teeth read my fanfiction and cribbed for me, because the whole point of RWBY Beyond, especially with backstories and stuff, was me trying to figure out from the information we had in the first 3 volumes what characters' backstories could have been. So I just predicted it right. But because we know people at Rooster Teeth read fanfiction, it creates this really weird, did they or did they not dynamic. There's
basically a Cinderella story gone wrong.
Yeah.
Which came first, the ideas from the staff, or the ideas from random autistic people?
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're
that's the concern.
We now have to wonder.
And we'll never know. And they'll probably never know, because it's just not something you really think about when you're writing. I think about it all the time because I wear my influences on my sleeve, but most people don't realize how much of their own cultural influences go into their work until after the fact, or unless they like really, really think about, like, wait a minute, this character name, why did I name him that? Oh, that's right, there's this character in the show I watched with that same name, and I like the name, so I used it.
Yeah. And dude, did you want to go into your rant?
Yes, I did. So real quick, and I don't want if you guys want to expand and respond later, you can. But just real quick, I want
everybody settle back.
Quick answers from you guys on this, real quick, okay? Go in order of some order. Do you think that Rooster Teeth is actually going to write Nora's trans?
No.
Nah.
No.
I think they're liking the responses because they don't have the condescending laugh emoji that Facebook has.
I think they're liking his stuff because, you know, that
they want to seem like
they're just
like, oh yeah, we're all for inclusion. Yeah,
because they don't want to get their heads bitten off like media.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it would be better to just, you know, ignore it and just like go on your day.
And I don't think so either. Okay, but let's address the idea that they let's address the idea that they were going to make Nora trans. Okay, now to clarify, I'm more of a libertarian than anything else. I do whatever the fuck you want. As far as the science and everything behind it goes, I think humanity is not aware enough yet. Yeah, I'm not saying we shouldn't keep doing research on it, figure things out, whatever we're supposed to do, you know, to try to figure out what's best for people that, you know, we don't, I think it's called now gender dysphoria. Was it a mental disease? Whatever. I don't know. Let's just assume that it's like, I don't care if you want to write, here's what I'm saying. If you want to write a trans character, fine, go for it. I don't care. That's great. If it's a good character, I'll watch the show. I'll love the character, anything. I don't care. Right. I love, what's the Dallas Buyers Club? I love that movie, and Jared Leto's character is my favorite part of that movie. Okay,
yeah.
I know that's a factual movie. It's not really entirely fictional. It's based on a true story, but even so, it's still
a character is made up, and the methods of, the self-diagnosis that he does would have actually been really dangerous in real life.
Okay, well, there you go. So anyway, fictional character that I really, really liked, and they're trans. Okay, you know, it's like, I'm not against that in general. However, Nora's not trans, and if you write her as trans now, then that's basically, then you're you're stupid and you're wrong. Because
something
it would be a retcon, and the worst kind of.
It's the worst kind of retcon. It's a terrible idea because she's shown. If you had the idea from the beginning, then we would have noticed by now. Because newsflash, we're starting Volume 7. This show is definitely more than halfway over. Okay. So there's no way they had this idea from the beginning. There's no indication whatsoever. And if that's the way you're going to do it, that's an idiotic way of doing it. That's not a good. And here's the thing: it's not a good way of doing it anyway. Like the people who think it's great just for representation's sake, I understand people want representation. I really do genuinely get that. If you want trans characters, that I understand why people want trans characters, especially people who are actually trans themselves. Those who are just doing it as part of an agenda, I don't know what you're doing. Like, why do you care? You're just pretending to care to virtue signal and make yourself look good. But if you are actually trans and you want representation, I understand that. But this is not the way to do it, because if somebody does something poorly writing-wise, that's not actually going to help your case.
Yeah.
People are going to backlash against it, and it's going to be more of a hindrance than it's going to be a help. That's the problem. If people do it right, then that's great, and then there's not going to be as much of a problem, right? So it's like when they introduced John's sister as gay in the last volume, right? And all of us like, wow, this is the only functioning couple in the entire
It's like,
show.
wow, look at how boring they are.
Yeah, it's great.
It worked because it was so casual and so not in our face. If they were to do it more, it would be very in our face, very non-casual, and it would be very
jarring, and it would genuinely be bad writing. Because here's the thing: it's not just like a trans thing. It's like the Jean thing. Like a lot of people are not happy about Jean's new hair, and and that's not even as extreme, right?
Yeah.
But it makes him look almost like a different person. It does make him look like a chatty kind of douche guy. It really does.
John is the Chad Thundercock of this universe. He has strong genes, and he will impregnate the entire team.
But you are.
You know what? If he does, I will accept the haircut.
You're the exception, though, high powered. Like, I know most people are not happy with his redesign, right? But that's not even changing who he actually is as a person, right? If you just all of a sudden change who somebody is as a person, then that is a massive issue, especially when it's a character that people already know and people genuinely like overall, right? Like, people like Nora for the most part. Most people don't dislike or hate Nora, you know? So it's a bigger deal. The other thing is, if this fucks with Renora, then I will riot. I don't care. Again, I don't care what the reasoning for it is. It has nothing to do that it's like specifically a trans thing. I don't care. It's changing a character because if they change her to be trans or whatever, right? That's literally only doing it for the agenda. They're not doing it for any creative, visionary, artistic reasons whatsoever. And you know that. And that's not the right reason to do it.
Yeah. If they were going to, then they would have cashed their brownie points in much, much earlier on in the series.
Yes, exactly. And like, you already got a trans character in a Rooster Teeth show. And that wasn't even implemented that well. And again, I'm not against...
It was better than it would be with Nora.
It's better than it would be with Nora.
If they were going to reveal that she was trans, they would have done it back in Volume 2 when Jean assumed that they were dating, and Nora's all like, first of all, we're not actually together. Second of all, what makes you think I'm a woman? What?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
they would have addressed it then.
Did you just...
Yeah.
So,
and then Red's like, oh, great, I'm into pegging.
He's male to female.
Like, here's I'm so far up on the Renora train that if they make her trans but Renora still gets together, I'll be happier with that than if Nora stays straight and they don't get together. Or Nora, not straight, sorry. Yeah. If Nora stays just what's it like cisgendered. Okay. Yeah. Nora stays cisgendered and does not get with Ren. I'll put it that way. That's how much I care about Renora. But still, it's not good writing. That's all. The only reason I care about is it's not good writing. And also, here's the other thing. I wouldn't even be going on this rant if it was like Blake or something like that, because it would still be bad writing. But I don't care about Blake. She sucks. She's a terrible character. I don't care what happens to Blake. I care what happens to Nora because I don't want anything. And I'm not saying it would fuck up Renora, but if anything fucks with Renora, I'm gonna destroy it with fire.
Well, there you have it, folks. Dude is perfectly willing to accept what is actually gay, because traps are gay. We all know this. Okay, so like he's perfectly willing to accept a gay relationship as long as it's the one that he's been shipping for this entire fucking show.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm clarifying that, because it's like I'm only ranting about this because it's Nora or Ren. If it was anybody else, I'd still say it's not good writing because you're changing somebody, you're retconning. Like that kind of retcon that doesn't fix anything is just bad writing, right? So that's why I feel like it's an issue. And I actually do think most people are it's more of the people want this to be like them. I don't even think it's mostly a trans issue. I genuinely think most of the people that are arguing are people that just want their it to be a headcanon that they can say they called.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's really a trans issue. It's
my initial issue with this before
she had
jumped down my throat. She already had those colors.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. The teal was already part of her original. So that's another.
Also, she's always had teal eyes.
Yeah, she's had teal eyes the entire time.
Her eyes. That's all she did.
You're not being Nostradamus just because you're calling it now in Volume 7.
That's another reason why it would be bad writing. If they added a character that happened to be trans, that's fine. Honestly, you know what? How about do this? Kill Oscar and add a trans character instead. Fine, go for it. I don't care.
Have Ozpin
stick Ozpin in a woman who becomes trans.
Yeah. That would be.
Yeah, do that. Do that.
That would be awesome. I'd actually be all for that.
I would be totally fine with that. Kill Oscar, have Ozpin go in the girl's body, and maybe the girl's already trans or something like that. You know what?
Wait, what? That's like, okay, no, that's adding like an extra layer to it.
I'm just saying.
You can't have them go into an already trans person.
This onion's really big. I don't know how many more layers we can peel back.
Ogres have layers, okay?
Just trying to get rid of Oscar, okay?
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
God.
That's my point, Coop, is I'm saying do anything except for have Oscar be alive, okay? That's my point. Anything that gets rid of Oscar is a good thing. That's my point. All right. And what's the other thing I was gonna say?
Something about dicks. I don't know. I don't know where we're at this point.
It was yes, this. We talked about this the other day. If you want if you're going to make a character trans, that would be a complete retcon. Jean has way more evidence toward being trans if you want to retcon stuff.
This is
just
true.
So you know.
Unfortunate but true.
He has way more evidence toward being trans. The high-pitched scream, the wearing a dress, like that's all actually stuff you could. It's retconning definitely because that's not what any of that meant. But if you wanted to make somebody trans, Jean makes way more sense than Nora. So that's another point I have is that Nora doesn't even make sense for it. And if the idea is that she's a tomboy, one, I don't see her as a tomboy, and two, why can't a girl just be a tomboy? Then you're being sexist.
Yeah.
Yeah, why can't Ren just be like, hey, it's okay. It's like you could just put the strap-on every once in a while. It's fine. It's no problem.
This is why
it's like I do anal onto you. It's like you get to do it onto me. It's equivalent exchange.
Listen, people, the mainstream media has been trying to brainwash tomboys into thinking they're trans for a long time. Okay, and the question here is, are you a bad enough dude to fucking save the tomboys?
I'd like to think I am.
Yeah,
because I've spent a many of nights on e-hentai, and I just fire up that tomboy, and I'm like, look at all these short-haired brown anime ladies.
The tags are, your tomboy. You add in dark skin, maybe tan lines. You're good to go for the whole night. That's how you do.
So
anyway.
One thing I just wanted to get to kind of put a nail in this coffin and go on to the next thing, because I think this is a good segue. My main issue with this from the fandom side of things is the conflating of headcanon and crackpot theories. Headcanons have to be, they have to have evidence, and typically not the kind of thing that would ever be officially revealed. Like, the example I always use is my headcanon that Yang spends an obnoxious amount of time on her hair. She has to, right? We'll never see that.
Okay.
They'll probably never say that, but that's my
How much time do you
headcanon.
think Jean spent on that hair?
A character's gender is not up for headcanon debate. Anything about a character's gender or lack thereof,
Unless that's specifically part of the character from the beginning.
Is automatically no, like it's like trying to make it something where it's not something where
they would address
it's the assumed gender or whatever.
Gotcha.
That's outside the realm of a headcanon. That could be an actual theory. It could be a crackpot theory, but that's not it. No matter how you slice it, no matter how plausible it is, something that important is not a headcanon. And you can't define something as something else absent any proof, which segues into one thing I wanted to address on this podcast because it's going on. DC Comics.
Fuck them.
Oh yeah.
They picked up
Well, at
both
least
Genlock
fuck the
and
Comics.
RWBY, and there's some stuff in there.
So the main we've encountered.
I don't think the person who writes it has actually seen the show.
that might
Not
be
more than once.
that might be what is causing this, but there has been much debate over the canonicity of these comics, which, if you're merely going by the idea that something that is canon should not contradict things that we know for a fact to be canon, then no, they are not. But if you want to go by the idea that something is canon because somebody who probably didn't even read the comics themselves and were just going to sign off on it said, yeah, they're probably canon, then yeah, they're canon. That's
So
basically
real quick, who so I believe the writer of the comic has claimed that it's, but who from RT have Miles, Carrie,
it was Carrie.
and
the
Eddie,
directors of RWBY as
all
a
of
show,
them.
have they confirmed it as canon?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so they're retarded.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean,
You see, what's bad now?
I made a brief
Did they even
video.
read the comics?
So I made a brief video on just one aspect of one of these comic issues. And I said, yeah, it's as canon as anything else in the series. Like the World of Remnants of Aura that was written by Monty that said that Aura is passive.
So basically, the comics are a retcon. Or
It's
retcon?
canon until it's not canon.
Well,
yeah,
I
they're
don't.
canon unless they're not.
I don't think they can.
Aspects of them are canon.
I don't think they can technically be a retcon due to their positioning. They take place in between volumes 3 and 4, right?
Yes.
So, I don't think they can actually retcon anything in them, but
Okay, so in all of them, and the 4th issue actually just came out today, and I actually just read it a few hours ago. And okay, so rewind. Some context. This is the 4th comic book run for RWBY. The first one was a manga written by Shiro Miwa that was coming out around the same time that Volume 4 was coming out. And that one was declared canon until it's not. It was a different interpretation of events. Dialogue was different. Actions were different. But anything that was actually revealed new in the manga was canon, such as the giant knight from the White Trailer being a Geist, an armored Gigas.
And Penny being able to fly.
Yeah, and Penny being able to fly. Grim chimeras existing. So you had that. And then you had the anthology series, which was not canon. It was absolutely, completely not canon. Aspects of it ended up being confirmed as canon, like Scarlet being gay, but that was always Miles being oh yeah, he's gay in the anthology series. He's also gay in the manga, but that event is not canon, no matter how you slice it. because the anthology series was a fan project funded by Rooster Teeth and published by Rooster Teeth. But what it was is a bunch of fan artists and stuff within the community, within the fandom, each doing their own chapter. They're each doing their own like little self-contained 2 to 3 page like comic book issue, and then having them all compiled together, which is why the anthology series has tons of different art styles. Every chapter has a completely different writer and a completely different art style, and none of them connect together because it's an anthology, is completely non-canonical. And then you had the recent one by Shonen Jump that was translated by Viz, and it had a short run. It just went through Volume 1. It was just a retelling of Volume 1. It changed some things, it streamlined some things, redesigned all the Grimm to where they look obese. And that one was also like just not canon. It was just an adaptation and didn't do anything different than Volume 1 did.
Wasn't that one actually pretty good?
No,
Some
I think
people
that one's actually the worst one. Of the 4, I think that one might actually be the worst one.
Gotcha.
Because it does nothing new. It adds you gain nothing from reading it. It's a completely pointless waste of time.
Gotcha.
No, at least the Shiro Miwa one, you had new revelations like the Armored Gigas and a cool fight with the Chimera Grimm. With the anthology series, you got all these like really cute aside stories that are like really, really good fan fiction. It's fan fiction, but it's really top quality fan fiction.
It's official fan fiction.
Yeah. And then this one, which I think the biggest problem with the DC comics is that the art is fugly, but that's just DC in a nutshell for the last 20, 30 years. DC hasn't
I remember a shot of Nora where she looks like a giraffe.
Yeah, DC has not made a good comic since 1995. Or when did Batman Snowman Land come out? Because that was like probably the last good comic that they produced.
Shit, I don't know. I can't remember.
I know it's mid to late. I know it's mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
And anyway, so this DC comic was declared as canon. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't line up. For instance,
like RWBY coming home from what happened in Beacon instead of waking up at home, or RWBY or Tai Yang seeing Team Ranger off when we know that she left him a note and disappeared.
Yeah. Or my favorite one, because it's just such a what the fuck that makes no sense no matter how you slice it.
Whenever Raven was shitposting on RWBY?
No, that actually makes kind of sense. It's stupid and doesn't fit with Raven's character, but
she doesn't seem like the jealous type.
Yeah. Like, why would she, someone who runs a bandit tribe and is quite possibly the Spring Maiden at this point,
take time to fully
go to Patch just to harass a 2-year-old.
And why would she,
like a 5-year-old at that point?
And not only this, why would she take that risk? Like, why would she be like, you know what? I'm like one of 2 talking birds that Taeyang knows, and I'm gonna go ahead and intimidate his daughter, and just hope that she doesn't go to him and say, "Hey, Daddy, there was a talking black bird that said some shit to me," and hope that he doesn't
beat up Crow.
Wow, no. Well, you see, the thing is, though, is Ty wouldn't beat up Raven. He'd just unzip his Magnum dog and be like, "Time to show you who's boss again." And Raven's like, "Please no," but then also at the same time, "Please yes."
Actually, I think it was Crow that they ran to after she started yelling at them. So, he knows who it fucking was. He's like, well, it definitely wasn't me. Anyway.
Yeah, and so the what the fuck move I was referring to is in chapter 3 in the Yang comic, which is the one that it was actually the first one I read all the way through because I was doing the video on it, which is also my most clickbaity video. I am very proud of that one. There's like this montage of images that are going through Yang's head. And one of them shows like her arm, and it shows a blade, and the sword looks like Jean's.
I mean, I would love
Chad
that.
Thundercock John strikes again.
Somehow, but
Like, how hard is it to just make that a red katana? Because okay, Eddie Rivas went on record being like, "Oh, it's canon, but it's not like a strict retelling of events. It's more about thoughts and ideas." What the fuck was so hard about making the sword red?
so what? She saw Adam and thought he was Jean. What the fuck?
There's no way to rationalize it. Like I get like Ruby coming home because it's like, oh, she has her head down. That's the way she's feeling. She's feeling like she will return home completely and utterly defeated. I can rationalize that when I apply some Mr. Fantastic logic on this. I can't wrap my head around the fact that this comic has several artists. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Just to see like how many, and I remember it had several writers and artists credited on it, and I want to give them the proper credit that they deserve. God, this website's so fucked. But anyway, like all these people. Okay, writer Marguerite Bennett, artist Mirka Andolfo, colorist Arif Prianto, letterer Gabriella Downey, cover artist Sarah Stone, and editor Andrew Marino. And none of those six goddamn people were like, wait a minute, isn't Adam's sword red?
Maybe they couldn't afford the red ink.
Hey,
This
red
isn't
ink
your
is
average-
expensive as fuck.
This isn't your average everyday stupid. This is advanced stupid.
Oh goodness, and I just each chapter I think has gotten better and better. Like I'm gonna do a full like probably review of this comic book run once it ends, because I think it is the most interesting of the 4 RWBY comics, just because of its declared canonicity. Like it has word of God cred that none of the other comics had. So like the Shiromiwa, the Shonen Jump, and the anthology series were very easy to ignore and very easy to hand wave off as the pieces of fan fiction that they were. But this one, because everyone is losing their minds over canonicity and trying to take like these panels and be like, see, this is proof, even though it doesn't actually show anything that we didn't already know from Volume 3 or Volume 4 in some cases. So if you've watched up through Volume 4, you know the really big stuff in this comic already. The interesting stuff is the new stuff. Like we get a lot of insight on Blake's backstory in the new chapter, and we actually see how her and Adam met and how they got together. And I thought it was very interesting. I actually liked it because they portrayed Adam as somewhat sympathetic, but also as someone who plays the sympathy card in order to get what he wants.
Well, that's cool. I like that. That's clever.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Like he was he was always a raging douche, but he was a raging douche who at least seemed to have everyone's well-being in mind. And I think that was very important for like what they did with him in Volume 6. And I think this comic book did land on that, but confirming Bumblebee? No, it didn't. It did nothing to even begin to hint to add on that front.
And remember, people, I've seen the clips and I've watched Media's video. I ship
have
Bumblebee.
documents.
I ship Bumblebee, and I don't think that confirms Bumblebee at all.
The only thing
So-
that will confirm Bumblebee. I've been drinking. Is like if they actually kiss. Like I think a Bumblebee kiss is more likely than an on-screen Renora kiss. Unfortunately.
I mean, with the amount of momentum it's got behind it, I honestly don't know why they haven't just gone full throttle with it in the show.
Bumblebee?
Yeah, I don't get it.
And as I said before, Bumblebee is a pot of boiling water sitting on the stove, and the water's boiling away. They gotta do something with it. They gotta confirm it or deny it. But that once that water boils away, the house catches on fire, then the house is on fire. It's no good anymore. You gotta throw some noodles in there being like, hey, she's gonna slide on that monkey dick, or she's gonna scissor that, Bumblebee, whatever it's called. Like, they've gotta make a choice, and they're running out of time.
So, they've already passed that. They've already passed that.
Yeah,
They need to just need to make their bed and lay in it at this point.
Yeah, more or less.
They should have confirmed Renora a while ago. Jesus, I mean, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You're not an anime, and one of the things people, at least in the West, hate most about anime is the ship baiting. Hello, we're not.
It's the
we're
will
not
they,
all,
won't they?
Yeah, we're not all lonely Japanese businessmen in their 40s who still are virgins. Okay, that's not what the West is. So, and I'm not saying that's not what all of Japan is either. I think it's dumb to do it in Japan too, first of all. But second of all, that's not what the West gets annoyed by shit like that a lot. So maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should just actually write relationships that make sense. Or you have written some relationships that make sense, like Renora. Just fucking confirm it and make them actually a couple. Hello.
Yeah.
And Bumblebee or Black Sun. Pick one, stop baiting. Okay? I don't even care. I'd rather Black Sun than the baiting.
Not to completely derail this podcast into my flights of fancy, but every time shipping, especially in RWBY, gets brought up and stuff, and I see the shipping wars, and I catch flack from the B-Vengers, which is a fucking thing now, for like not thinking it's confirmed yet. It really makes me appreciate Neji Haruba's hustle, and really makes me just enjoy quintessential quintuplets all the more, because that's a shipping war done right.
That's I cannot deny Neji that style.
Yeah.
But as far as like,
I mean, it's also just his fandom's made up of actually decent human beings. But
yeah,
I think just Neji's handled a lot of that stuff very, very well.
Yeah, as far as like the baiting and stuff
Who is
like,
this? Who is Neji?
Neji Haruba is the writer of quintessential quintuplets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't
Basically, you have a
that comic
five-way shipping
entirely
war that's actually done right, and the fandom is actually like very nice about not being mean and horrible to each other, even though there's a huge rivalry.
Yeah,
this guy sounds like a fucking genius if he's able to write a five-way ship baiting war and have people actually like it and not just angry.
Yeah,
it works very well. It's very character driven, and
that's amazing.
It's quite good.
I'm assuming part of it has got to be because it's the entire basis of the show is that, right? Is
more or less, yeah.
And the genius behind it is that and this is just my opinion on the series, the dynamics between the five girls is more interesting than any of their individual dynamics with the main guy. Like they are sisters who love each other and bicker and fight and get in each other's nerves, but at the end of the day, they all love each other and they are all supportive of each other, and they are all at
lusting after the same man's dick.
Minor spoilers alert. Minor spoiler. At this point, they are all ready for rejection. They're all like kind of bracing themselves for when Futuro inevitably only picks one of them.
Except Itsuki. She's still like,
oh yeah, she has absolutely no idea that she's even like in the running.
A candidate.
She's more interested in studying and
that's gonna be the one he picks.
It's gonna be the most accident. I don't know when she's gonna kiss him, but it's gonna be the most.
By the way, just pointing out, I've never read any of Quintessential Quintuplets, so I'm just saying that as a troll. Just so you all know, I'm not actually trying to add to the war. I'm just
Do we have any closing statements?
Getting back on track. One thing I wanted to address, I kind of missed the moment, and we got on to other things with the character designs. The animation in the trailer, a little wonky in some spots. Like you have the scene where Blake throws Gamble shot and she throws it like this.
Yeah. Also, her hair, the way her hair is flowing behind her looks kind of weird.
Yeah, her hair has no physics applied to it as she's flying through the air.
She's falling.
Yang also does like a really sissy punch against the centipede. She goes like, instead of like actually like.
So we'll see how this goes.
Putting her hips
see how that
into
mocap is.
I remember that Monty didn't like doing mocap for fight scenes. He only did mocap for things that normal human beings are able to do.
Like walk cycles.
Like, there's only so many ways you can throw. Yeah, like
look
walk
at
cycles,
me. I'm going to drink
talking, now. Talking, hand gestures, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do all the actual like fight scene stuff by hand. And as far as I'm aware, they've continued that for better or worse, which might be why Yang does like the sissy punch, because they didn't have anyone actually like with the mocap suit throw an actual real punch.
Yeah.
I like the idea too, like in the mocap arena, it's like, why do we have this punching bag? And then it's like, well, we had money to spend, so we might as well use it. And the person punches the punching bag barehanded, and they're like, ow, I hurt my hand. And then I'd be if I was sitting there, I'd be like, wow, look at the soy.
Yeah, fuck, Jesus Christ. I mean, I might be on Auschwitz victim mode right now, but I could still punch a punching bag without hurting my own hand.
Yep.
Oh no. Oh. But there's really not much else to go out on the trailer. Like there's no real like plot stuff we could like unravel, cuz like as we talked about earlier on the Discord, which you should join, and it's free to join. All you have to do is click that link. Unlike other Discords that exist for this autistic fandom that we call the RWBY fandom, you can come onto my Discord server for free, and you can listen to me and my ramblings. But as I lost my train of thought,
not me though, because I'm never here unless it's a podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm always on there, and I'm always encouraging others to do the same.
Yes. But yeah, there isn't like a whole lot of like stuff we could glean from it plot wise from this. It's like other than I now remember what we were saying. When I was going across, it's like, like them all getting arrested and then dragged to Ironwood makes perfect sense. Yeah. They wrote
we predicted that.
Yeah.
That back
freeze up again.
I think we actually predicted that.
Like they just get arrested as soon as they they land.
Yeah. In our Volume 6 predictions, like right after Volume 5 ended, I think we predicted that. I don't know. I'm kind of wanting to go back and listen to at least the Volume 6 podcasts before Volume 7 starts. I don't know if I'm going to though, because I got so many other things I'm wanting to do.
But yeah, because they essentially, like with the whole Weiss bit, like they've written themselves into a corner, and normally being written into a corner is a bad thing, but you can write yourself into good corners, and this is the moment where they have themselves being written into a proverbial good corner, where it's like, oh hey, look,
Weiss needs to face her family issues.
Oh god, I swear to God, if Weiss's mom is lusting after John, that will be hilarious. Or she'll be like, Ark, If White Knight if White Knight becomes a thing in this volume, that would be amazing. Wait, White Knight is Weiss John, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's actually one of the ones that I'm like that I like just because it's like sort of the I don't know, it you could say it's kind of cliche, but I've always liked it as like a good backup for Lancaster, and which was my main one that I liked. But like I think it's still a good dynamic, and it's got the necessary setup for it. Um, so like I would be perfectly fine with that, and I think if they did it right, it would be kind of sweet and be like a good kind of it would kind of be like the culmination of two arcs to where, you know, you got the loser guy who kind of upped his status, and then you got the stuck up bitch who kind of like
Gets humbled.
gets humbled, gets a little bit more down to earth, and they kind of meet in the middle.
And then they have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you do in the middle.
One other thing that they showed, I think it was shots from, I think it was some little screenshots from like the first episode, and one of them apparently has Maria looking or talking to someone, and there's like a shot, and it looks like it might have been Penny's dad or something, father, creator or whatever.
Yeah, they did show the first half of episode 1 at New York Comic Con. I've seen a couple images, nothing I could sink my teeth into though. Except for like one shot of like Maria sitting at a desk, and there's a picture on the desk that looks like it could be the same bearded scientist man from that scene in Volume 3 when Penny died.
The plot just came to my mind. The through line with Maria and Penny is simply that the doctor who built Penny was the doctor who put together Maria's eyes. Mic drop done. Exit stage left.
Yeah, it would be within the same wheelhouse, you know, artificial eyes and stuff. So Penny would have had artificial eyes. And so, yeah, it makes sense. So anything else?
I'm good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'm good too.
Let's see.
I can't think of anything either. So if you like
there is the lore book, but we kind of went over that a little bit.
We don't really. None of us have the lore book. We're not.
Nobody cares.
We'll have to do that a different day when we have the lore book.
Watch Celtic's video.
Yeah, Raven's
or his
reading
stream.
Watch his video, which will be like done and stuff by the time you see this.
Comment that he's a bitch under it on my behalf, by the way. And tell him that it was Coop that told you to do it. He'll know.
I might pop in there like after we're done wrapping up, assuming he's still streaming, and be like, Coop said you're a bitch. So if I did that, and you'd already know, because you hopefully have already seen his stream, because it's going on as we're recording this, and this is going to go up in a day or two, then give us both a like, I guess. I don't know.
And I'm not sure.
Make sure to
of this
join
is
the
anymore.
Discord, because it will be linked in the description.
Literally like this is like that scene in Spaceballs. What's happening here is happening now. But what will it be now? You'll have missed it by the time you actually watch this, because
when
you're
will
watching this
then
in our future.
When will then be now? Soon.
Because for us, Raven's stream is in the present, but for you, it's in the past. But for us telling you that, it's in the future.
And just like in Spaceballs, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Yes, you are.
Alrighty, well, let's sign off. So,
if you like this video and you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe. I have a couple videos in the works. JoJo video will probably be up within a day or two of this. I'm shooting to upload this either tomorrow or Friday, and then the JoJo video I'm hoping for Saturday or Sunday. And then I have a very, very special video coming out next week, because I realized something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. More info on that later. Then I also want to do some quintessential quintuplet videos. I have one more RWBY Honest Look to do before November 2nd, so I have a very busy month ahead of me. But you can like, comment, subscribe, support me on Patreon, join the Discord. Links are all.
Do you still need money for your new computer?
Every little bit helps. 'Cause I haven't gone out and got it yet. So, I mean, by the time people are watching this, I'll probably already have had it. Because I think we're going shopping Friday. I think that's what we're doing Friday. So yeah, until next time, we'll catch you when Volume 7 starts, I guess. Unless one of us gets the lore book and we decide to do a podcast on it.
Probably not.
I'm not going to spend money on that.
Probably not. But maybe.
I've had to spend too much money on over-the-counter medications recently, so can't.
Yep. Also, if you guys want, check out my fan fiction, RWBY 2020. Actually did pretty good on it last month, and currently working on. Currently I'm in Volume 4, so feel free to check it out. Find out what it would be like if. And I'm going to be trying to get it done. Hopefully by the time Volume 7 starts. If not, definitely by the time it ends. But check it out if you want to see what it would be like if Jean had Ozpin in his head rather than Oscar, because Oscar doesn't exist in my fanfic. So give it a read, give it a check out. Let me know what you guys.
It's automatically better than the show.
Yes, it is. I'm liking it so far, and I
have not.
It's actually been really cool to write.
When do Ren and Nora get?
Sorry.
When do Ren and Nora get together in your fan fiction?
Volume 4, end of Volume 4. Absolutely, they are going to kiss in at the end of Volume 4.
Can we like hire you to like just fix everything and just rewrite the show? Thank you very much.
I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing with the fanfic, but so give that a read, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll try to working on updating it. So yep.
And as I recall, when they kiss, the Black Eyed Peas "Hey Ya" begins playing in the background, does it not?
That's Outcast.
I'm going to listen to the Black Eyed Peas "Hey Ya" while reading that chapter when it comes out.
Outcast.
Feel free to.
No, it was Black Eyed Peas for sure.
And as I said earlier, if you wish to join the Discord, it'll be in the link somewhere. Preseason hype is starting up. We've already gotten a few new members. Feel free to join. And I think that's about it. So hope everyone has a good time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yep. See ya.